Providing a space for like-minded groups and generations of Scouts was on the top of the agenda for our next group. Here to tell you about their journey is Mania-o-Roto Scout Zone from Ashburton.
Mania-o-Roto Scouts are a combination of scouting groups in Ashburton and mid-Canterbury. They had a vision. This is their story.
Hi, I'm Barry. I'm a Scout leader from the Allenton group. My involvement in Speak Scouts began in 1985. I represent the Mania-o-Roto Scout Zone, which covers the area between the Rakaia and the Rangitata rivers. Our area has 8 scouting groups. The scouting movement is about fun, overcoming personal challenges and adventure. It provides life skills pathway for 6 to 26-year-olds, from Kias to Cubs to Scouts, then to Venturers and Rovers. Our Scout will learn life skills like first aid and outdoor survival. Scouts create, host and attend jamborees and rallies. We have mudslide days and assist with community fundraising and events. These activities help to ensure the next generation has a sense of community, self-esteem, respect and leadership skills. Scouting in Ashburton is 107 years old. In the 1950s, the Mania-o-Roto Park was presented to the Scouts. It was rough, covered in broom and gorse. Scouts cleared and camped on site. Stories still circulate about the broom not being cut very low and for poking through the bed mats and sleeping bags, making for a very uncomfortable night. Eventually, buildings were located on site, and which became the dens for scouting activity. In recent years, the scouting has had a resurgence, and this has put the movement in good heart. In 2008, the buildings on site were in a sad state. The park had become very disjointed, and a lot of the volunteer time was being used to maintain the buildings rather than focusing on scouting activities. The following photos show the state of the buildings out on site in 2008. Most were second-hand that had been donated. Some were built with 2 second-hand materials, like old kerosene tins that were flattened and used as cladding. A new building was needed. Mania-o-Roto Zone needed a development team. This was made up of representatives from each group. I was the chairman of this committee and Carolyn became the secretary and treasurer.
Hi, as Barry said, I'm Carolyn and my involvement began with Scouts 16 years ago when my sons Leighton and Joshua joined Kias. Joshua was involved with Cubs when, in 2008, a joint committee of scouting representatives was established to build a multi-purpose facility. To construct this building, $725,000 had to be found, a mammoth task for a voluntary organisation based on youth. But as Scouts do, we got stuck in and the fundraising began in earnest. This slide depicts the extent and resourcefulness of our scouting community, from funding applications to raffles, quiz nights to fertiliser fundraisers that ran for 3 years. What surprised us most was the contributions from local people. We'd lose momentum, then a cheque would appear in my mailbox from $20,000 or $25,000. The loyalty to Scouts from the wider community and the readiness to help was phenomenal. 3/4 of the way through the project, we lost an elderly committee member, Eddie Cleland. Eddie's wife donated the entire collection from his funeral to the building fund. It's fair to say that the committee was feeling quite overwhelmed by this stage, and Eddie's passing made us feel even more determined to battle on. And battle on we did. And then the volunteers turned up. If we were surprised by the funding contributions from the local people, the volunteers were unbelievable. I cannot emphasise enough that this entire project would not have happened without volunteers. On reflection, it feels that anyone who has ever had something to do with Scouts in mid-Canterbury showed up and got to work. 240 hours per week, 960 hours per month. The total volunteer time equates to 6 people working full-time for 2 years to construct this building. When I think of this, the project was a labour of love. But these weren't just any volunteers. Men who had been Scouts and now owned or ran their own trade businesses showed up with time and materials at cost price. They gave back to the scouting movement that had given them many positive experiences as boys. It was truly overwhelming. However, we had some speed bumps, and as Lord Baden-Powell, the founder of Scouts, says, A Scout is never taken by surprise. He knows exactly what to do when the unexpected happens, and the unexpected happened. After the Christchurch earthquake, there was change in our consent. The foundations had to be changed, and extra materials and skills were needed, all donated. We started to experience financial challenges, including running out of money. Building costs increased, and our funding wasn't keeping up. This is where the volunteers again kept our project alive. The current and past Scouts laid stormwater pipes, painted, landscaped, dug trenches, pulled wires for the electricians, put kitchen joinery together. Working bees were a commonplace, and to manage the project, there were 5 years of meetings most Wednesday nights. It was worth it. In March 2014, this new Scout building was opened. The building comprises of one large hall, one smaller hall, 2 large meeting rooms, 6 smaller rooms, a mezzanine, commercial kitchen, and excellent ablution areas. There is a storage room and separate wash areas. The facility has hosted weddings, fundraising dinners, community events, and the police have utilised the building during a local emergency. The opening party brought tears to my eyes. The building just seemed to explode with energy and happiness with the gathering of the district's scouting groups and leaders. I watched from the mezzanine, and all the hours of writing minutes, thank you letters, receipts, funding applications, reports, phone calls, and balancing the budget just faded into the background. I was witnessing exactly what our initial vision was, a place that hosts many community groups, a place where older children are leading and teaching and playing with younger children. The facility is alive with magic.
This facility is now the hub of scouting in Mid-Canterbury area, and in true community spirit is a facility that provides not only for the entire scouting region, but also the wider community. As a Scout leader, it's wonderful to see boys and girls come as young people and leave as responsible adults with life skills in hand. Let me give you an example of a local Scout. This boy started at Kears and is now in Scouts. He lives with his grandfather, and quite recently his grandmother passed away. His father died years ago, and his mother is an active drug addict. This boy earned his badges along the way. He is polite and comfortable speaking to adults, respectful, and gets along well with his fellow Scouts. Scouting is providing a structure of activities, life skills, and role models that are positive influence on him. In summary, this project showed that the values and vision of Scouting is not just words, it is action. This large project, looking forward to the next 100 years of our community, had its challenges, but I think the words of Lord Baden-Powell summed up the motivation of the many volunteers who are involved in this project. Try and leave this world a little better than you found it. And when your turn comes to die, you can die happy, and feeling that at any rate you have not wasted your time, but have done your best. Be prepared this way to live happy and die happy. Stick to your Scout promise always, even after you have ceased to be a boy, and God help you to do it. On my honour, I promise to do my best, to do my duty to my God, to the Queen and my country, to help other people and live by the Scout law. Thank you.